Today we're picking up just a few miles down the road from where we left you last time. We had a full day of driving ahead. Cold and snow were expected here within 48 hours, so we needed to find our way south. It was still a little rainy, but at least it wasn't flooding, right? We headed for Whitehorse and then to the Cassiar Highway. The Stewart-Cassiar Highway is one of two routes that stretch from the Yukon down into British Columbia. We had been warned that the road was rough. In fact, someone actually told us that it was worse than the Dalton, and that it would tear up our rig. But we decided to take our chances since this highway is much more of a straight shot south than the Alcan, and it would let us avoid the winter weather that was expected in coming days. Alright, we are turning on to the Cassiar Highway. We've been driving for pretty much the entire day, and right now we're on the Cassiar Highway, and we just thought it would be interesting to show you guys some of the views that we're seeing. Pretty quickly once we got onto this highway, we started to see all kinds of dead trees, and it looks like maybe there's been some forest fires here, not in the too distant past, but we're starting to see lots of little trees growing, which is great. So those are coming back in. But when we first got on the highway, it was actually pretty eerie because most of what you could see was dead trees and lots of smoke. But it seems like maybe we're starting to come out of it. We actually saw our first forest fire earlier today, actually. Still in the Yukon. We weren't quite in British Columbia yet, but it was just a small one, luckily, so hopefully that will be contained. But kind of interesting. Just thought we'd show you guys what we're seeing. We shouldn't have too much more driving for today. We're hoping another 45 minutes and we'll be to our stopping spot for the night, but I guess we'll see when we get there.
There's a new day that will come again tomorrow. There's a new day to wash away the pain. There's a new day to take away your sorrow. And the old ways get washed out by the rain.
Luckily, we didn't find the highway to be so bad. It was fully paved and far less bumpy than the Dalton, but with just as much breathtaking scenery.
'Cause I promise you this.
Once we were a bit more south and out of the storm's trajectory, we took a couple of days to rest at a BC wreck site before continuing on.
If you give up the fight, if only just for a bit, there's a new day to leave behind your troubles. There's a new day and it will set you free.
Want to pull over up here?
Yeah, pull over for sure. So we're still driving down the Stewart-Cassiar Highway today. We haven't had service in several days. We actually can't remember how long it's been. But we're making good progress south. We actually had to stop because we found this really awesome glacier just right off the side of the road. It's beautiful. We've seen a lot of them actually on the drive just recently in the last hour or so, but none of them have been quite this big from what we can see from the road. So we're really impressed. It's really awesome. David's gonna fly the drone over there, so we're gonna see how much we can see of it.
just a dream, just all in my head. Floating rivers upstream.
The more south we've gone today, the more beautiful trees we've seen. When we were up in Alaska, at least for the last couple of days, most of the trees had already lost a lot of their leaves, especially with it being so windy. So we're excited to be back to the fall foliage. Bear Glacier was incredible, and so unexpected since we hadn't researched this part of the journey. But we had our sights set on another glacier. So we headed through Stewart and back into Alaska one last time. All right, another border crossing. Hello, Alaska.
Go straight,
Again.
then turn left.
Okay,
In
well,
500 feet, keep right.
we are in
then keep
Alaska.
left.
We were surprised. We actually turned around and went back to talk to the Canadian Customs border agent
Keep right, then
because
keep
we
left.
thought somehow we missed the U.S. Customs border check. So they said actually there's no border check here. So we just went on through. Kind of bizarre.
Keep left.
Yeah, we stopped
then
at a
keep
stop
right.
sign coming in. And a lot of times there's a gap between like Canadian customs, and then you'll have like sometimes a few mile gap in between U.S. customs. And I was like, oh, maybe U.S. customs is just up around the corner or something. But I noticed one of the speed limit signs was in miles per hour. So I was like, no, we must already be in Alaska. I was like, did we just blow through a border crossing?
What?
We didn't have any police cars coming after us or anything, so that was a good sign. But I'd say this has got to be the easiest U.S. Border crossing for sure.
At least that we've encountered. But here we are.
Yep.
I guess we'll just keep on keeping on.
So we were on our way to Salmon Glacier. We're about probably 10 miles or so out from that. We noticed off to the side of the road a wooden walkway. So we had to stop and see what all the fuss was about. In reading some of the signs, I guess this is a prime bear watching location. And they have this wooden walkway constructed right along the river so you can safely view the bears eating fish. Sadly, right now I don't see any bears out and about looking for fish, but it's still a pretty river to look at.
So on the other side of our walkway is another really pretty river. This one's much smaller, and it seems to flow into this little pond that's got lots of pretty blue water. Good views all around. David and I were just talking about how the sun actually feels bright and direct again here. It's kind of wild. It feels like we haven't seen the sun like this in several weeks, maybe longer. But it's, well, when we were in Stewart, it was almost 1:30, and now that we crossed back over into Alaska, it's 12:30. But the sun actually feels like 12:30 or 1:30 right now. Pretty wild. When we were up more north in Alaska around this time of day, it felt more like 4:30, maybe 5, maybe later, just because the sun was just always kind of so low in the sky. So we're not sad about it. It's nice to have some bright sunshine again.
You can see the glacier down below, but I'd say there's probably a 3,000 foot drop off on the shoulder of this road, and it looks like it is straight down, and there's no guard or anything, and it's just a gravel road going around here.
Shelf Road.
It's a little unnerving. I'm not gonna lie, I'm definitely very nervous, but I guess it's probably only a crazy person wouldn't be nervous on a road like this. So it says we still got 9.5 more miles. We'll see how long my nerve will take us.
So the drive up here was not for the faint of heart. It was very intense. very intense little shelf road, but the views up here are unbelievable. So I think it was worth it. Do you think it was worth it?
I think it was worth it. I'm definitely not looking forward to the drive back down, but now that we're here, it's nice to be able to sit on this bench and look around.
Yeah. Look at this bench placement. Pretty perfect. Wild.
Got glaciers all around. That's Salmon Glacier out in front of us.
Yeah, we've got a little stream back behind us. So we have a nice little sound machine. Apparently last night there was a bear walking down on the glacier that some people saw. Which is kind of hard to believe, but I guess we'll see if we see anything cool like that. But so far we've got fairly clear skies, so fingers crossed we might get to see the northern lights tonight.
Count to 10, then open up my eyes. If you're gone, I'll take it as a sign. But if you stay, then baby hold me tight and send me off with the words of a lullaby. Of a lullaby.
So we've been enjoying the nice views here. We talked to some people earlier, that was kind of fun, but everyone else has left. So it looks like we might get this spot all to ourselves for the night.
Yeah, it's absolutely stunning. The sun's starting to go down now. The light's reflecting off the glacier just a little bit, but definitely a beautiful scene.
Yeah, there's not much else quite like it. Definitely some epic sunset views.
Salmon Glacier is actually the 5th largest glacier in Canada, and there's not really a whole lot of information out there that we were able to find on it, but one of the sites that we did find said it was only accessible from May to September, and here we are mid-October. Didn't have any issues getting up here, so we're definitely lucky that winter's set in a little bit late this year. Even just here over here in some of the locals talk in one of the grocery stores we were at, they were surprised by how late winter is this year, so I'm definitely thankful for it. Otherwise this road up here would have been a lot more treacherous.
Count to 10, then open up my eyes. If you're gone, I'll take it as a sign. But if you stay, then baby hold me tight and send me off with the words of a lullaby.
Back down we go. As quickly, yet as safely as we can. In true Dave Albers fashion, we're hoping these don't spill.
This is a true test of driving skill right here, so we'll see how I do. I've had many years of practice.
Don't break the egg.
Don't break the egg.
David is hugging the shoulder? Question mark?
Inside shoulder?
Hugging the shoulder as much as possible.
I really don't enjoy that outside shoulder with the drop off that's right over there. I'd like to stay over on this side. I'll pretend I'm in Europe for now.
Oh, it does look like a salmon tail. That's the terminus. Pretty wild. Just bopping along on a little shelf. Alright, we've about made it down below now where the fog is. There's also a river. So Salmon Glacier has now turned into Salmon River here. see a little more of Salmon River. Whew, bumpy. Quite pretty though. Well, we made it down from Salmon Glacier. We stopped at Fish Creek again, so it's on the way. It's nice and quiet here. Nobody else is here right now. So I thought it'd be a perfect time to get the cats out and let them go for a little walk. David's watching the Bengals game, so he's busy. So it's just one kitty at a time. But Nettie's doing pretty good on the boardwalk. It's just checking it out. It's a pretty good spot for him and can go for quite a ways. We were a little bit bummed last night. We had a clear night again, but sadly no northern lights. It just wasn't a good night for them. So maybe we'll luck out here in the next week before we're too far south again. Fingers crossed it works out. It would really be cool to see them. Sadly, really, we haven't had very many clear days since we've been in Alaska, so it's clear here again though, so maybe the more south we go, the more clear days we'll end up with. Time will tell, I guess.
I've been trying to make sense of it all, looking for signs in the stars.